right, welcome everybody to another product spotlight today on Dave Cooper Live. We are very excited to deliver a topic we have yet not to cover on this show. Where can you strategically buy new and used building component manufacturing equipment? We're talking about wall panels, roof trusses, floor trusses, saws, and laser scanning and marking. Are you looking for an affordable way to bring construction tech into your offsite manufacturing business? Where does one go to buy and sell used brand name machinery and saws like Hundiger, Spida, MyTech, Panels Plus, and more? Today, we will welcome Joe Alterman from Wood Tech Systems, also known as Wood Truss Systems, and he will answer all of these questions for us. So, where can you strategically buy new and used building components, manufacturing equipment? Stay tuned. If you happen to have a few of these things on your holiday wish list: component production equipment, wall panel framing and sheathing equipment, lineal saws, components, radial arms, automated measuring systems, material handling systems, roll-off truss trailers, waste reduction equipment, replacement production surfaces, and so much more. And also, Wood Tech Systems is a proud member of the SBCA and showcases their services each year at BCMC. And that's where we met Joe for the first time ourselves. You can meet them there yourselves, or they will travel to see your manufacturing facility and to better understand your needs and requirements as you integrate construction technology and automation into your building component manufacturing facility. All right, listen, we can't have any of these shows without our sponsors, so let's give a big thank you to Forward Solutions Group and Howick Ltd. for sponsoring today's show. With that said, Forward Solutions Group has sponsored us for almost a year now, and we love their support, and we want to thank them for allowing us to deliver these examples of construction innovation. Forward Consulting Group is successfully driving companies to succeed where others have failed. To learn more about Forward's recent acquisition of Moducore, an ERP solution for offsite manufacturing, contact Ben Hershey to learn more at ben at forwardsolutionsgroup.com. And also a big thank you and shout out to Howick Ltd. Howick has a long history of innovation in cold form steel manufacturing and produces innovative precision roll forming technology for customers throughout the United States and the world. Check out their machine buyer guide for offsite modular construction or fast build construction with light steel for framing. You can find that at www.howickltd.com. I highly suggest you go there and download those today. All right. We have 30 minutes today with Joe. They're busy. So let's not waste any more time and bring Joe in right now. Joe, how are you today, my friend?
I'm great, Dave. Thank you.
Man, that was a mouthful. You guys do so much, and I'm so excited to talk about this because we talk about innovation. We talk about, all the new manufacturing that's coming online across the country, whether it's panelized, truss, floor systems, modular, it doesn't matter, volumetric, all the way across the board. But we never talk about how does somebody starting a manufacturing, facility find the equipment, especially, if they're on a budget or they want new equipment. You guys offer all of that. So before we jump into it, though, Joe, like everybody else on the show, we want to know everything about you from the moment you were born to this very moment in time. Do not leave out any of the good stuff from the hospital, or we will call your mother. And Jay was not able to join us, so I know I can get a hold of your mother through Jay, and then it's going to get all juicy on here, and I'm sure you don't want that out. So go ahead. You got 2 minutes to do it.
All right. So I was born kind of into the industry. Our family goes back several generations in home building. And my grandpa, Bob, actually started this company in 1987, which is just a year after I was born. So I grew up, kind of crawling around my dad's home office. And I've been hearing about truss equipment my whole life. So I have pretty good knowledge of it. And I still, when I got older, I wanted to branch out a little bit, and went off to Ball State University in Muncie to try to, do something different than my dad did, kind of make my own way, that kind of thing. And I really didn't feel like that was for me. So eventually I came back and my dad needed help with the company. So I jumped in, and that was 10 years ago now, and I'm still here doing it and loving it. And it really, everything.
Yeah.
everybody in the industry has been great. It's really one of those things. It's relationship based, and it's just a lifetime thing. My dad says that the truss industry is it's a life sentence. Once you get in, you don't get back out. So I'm starting to see that, and I've been very happy doing this.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's a great group of people, and it's quite funny. I did the same thing as soon as I graduated. I grew up framing houses, and I went and joined the military. And next thing you know, I was back to framing houses, thinking I was never going to do that again. But then you realize the grass isn't always greener on the other side.
Right.
But all right, so Joe, we have limited time today. We got about 20 minutes, so let's get through this. I really want people to understand what the services that you truly offer are. We'll go through some of the website stuff as well. But why don't you give us the overview on what Wood Tech Systems does and how you help people in our industry be better?
Sure. So we sell new and used equipment. We broker used equipment, and we rep new equipment companies. And kind of the biggest thing there is that we never speculate in equipment. We never buy used equipment and resell it. We always broker those transactions. So there's no, conflict of interest with us owning our own equipment and trying to sell it. We're not competing against our own buyers and sellers. And we cover the full suite of roof truss, floor truss, and wall panel equipment. And we stay pretty narrow within those confines, and we don't really branch out into other things too much. We get into a little bit of stair and door equipment, and a few like fringe support equipment for those for truss
Sure.
plants primarily. But we try to keep it pretty narrow, our scope.
Right. So if I'm in the wall panel business, floor panel, floor cassettes, or roof and truss and all that, or even modular, because modular, I mean, they're also panelizing in house to build their modules. What do you're kind of a one stop shop. I can come to you and I can look at used equipment, and these have some pretty hefty price tags to it, and we're going to show some of that in a minute. Or you can also give us the option of the newer equipment. So the benefit I think of working with a company such as yours is there's an option to be able to go new or used, save some money where you can save money and still get the same production and capacity that you'd want to get out of it. And you have all those different options.
Yeah, that's right. And we're seeing more and more today that it's not so much even saving money on used equipment. A lot of it comes down to lead times, with new equipment lead times getting stretched out further and further, 30 weeks plus on some things. So if you have a piece of equipment go down and you need a replacement now, it's not always an option to buy new. So there are some cost savings with used, but a big benefit is lead time as well.
Sure. And with the equipment itself, so are you only selling equipment, or are there other services that you offer to these manufacturers or these new buyers?
So we, along with equipment sales, we do a little bit of consulting. So if you're a startup, we will, usually travel to your facility or your potential facility, and kind of work through a plan of what your goals are, what you're wanting to build, your volume, and we can kind of base an equipment portfolio around that and find the best needs, piece in used equipment, new equipment, whatever the solution may be. Just make sure that you're not spending too much on capacity that you're probably never going to use. On the other hand, making sure you have the equipment to keep up with the capacity that you're going to start with and hopefully grow into a little bit.
Right, for sure. And this is where it gets really interesting, right? I know so many manufacturers right now, or people that are wanting to open manufacturing right now, and coming up with not only the layout and design of these manufacturing facilities, but also coming up with the equipment. I mean, it's a twofold equation. And I know you guys really focus on the equipment itself, but you're partnered with all the right people to help a company be successful, or you have maybe partners, the wrong word, collaborations.
Yeah, that's right. So we work closely with all of our companies that we rep, machinery, equipment, manufacturers, and we also work closely with Forward, one of the sponsors today. And on the consulting
Love
side, we
Forward.
work with them pretty closely to just kind of help on the equipment side of things with their consulting. So we refer a lot of people to Forward for their consulting services as well.
Sure, sure. So let's hop into it. Let's take a look at your website. I don't know if a whole lot of people that realize what the cost of this equipment really is and what the cost to get involved in manufacturing. So why don't we share this? Let me put this up on the screen here. All right. So if we go here, where are we at? New equipment.
Yep.
All right. So just new equipment. Why don't you talk us through a couple of the things we're looking at here, just so people have an understanding of what these do that may not be in the manufacturing space, but they may be looking to be an investor in the manufacturing space.
Sure. So, well, for instance, the first couple things there, the terminaler, subcomponent, and header nailing station. That is an item, we like to say it's not for everybody. It is a very expensive subcomponent nailer. But for the right volume, the right customer, it can drive between 30 and 70% of the nails in any given wall, which is pretty huge labor savings, as well as the safety factor of not taking that nail gun out of somebody's hands.
Right.
So that thing will eat through headers, subcomponents, all that kind of stuff. And the beauty of that is that there's no software integration. So it's all event driven. It uses sensors to see what it's nailing, and there's very minimal operator input. So you could kind of put somebody on that day one on the job, and they'll be producing subcomponents and headers. And that's kind of a theme that you'll see throughout a lot of this equipment is kind of taking skilled labor out of it, so that you can get new labor in there as fast and easy as possible, and help it over.
Right. I mean, but we're looking at $200,000 for one of these machines, and I mean, it's hefty.
It is hefty. So some of our customers, general consensus is the payback on this for them has been 11 months, a year, kind of right around there. And like I said, it's not for everybody, but if you've got a high volume wall panel shop, it almost definitely makes sense for you.
Got it. All right, so I'm just going to go through a couple of these just so everybody understands. I mean, not only, see, this is what I think is really cool. When you look at a piece of equipment like Hundiger, you go to Hundiger's site, you only get to see that piece of equipment that they offer. When they come to your site, they get to see a gamut of different suppliers and different options for them. And I think that's a huge benefit. Is that what you find out as well?
Yes, exactly. And that's kind of the big benefit in coming to us is we can piece together different manufacturers. If you go to a Chevy dealership and you want a car, they're going to sell you a Chevy, where maybe your capacity of a Ford or something like that is better for you. So what we are doing is in the consulting phase, like I said, we find out what you want to build, what your capacities are, and we go through and kind of piece together what would work best together to build either holes in your shop, or help fix bottlenecks, or even just start a whole new shop. We can do any of that, and hopefully save you some money and some headaches in the process.
Yeah, no, for sure. Why don't we do this? Let's walk through the different categories while we have you on here. That way people can see the full breadth of everything you have. So BAM, builders automation machinery. Just give us a quick overview on what this stuff is here.
Yep. So they do our stair and door equipment, like I touched on earlier. It's kind of a fringe thing that we do. That's where we've got kind of a product specialist, Jim Mavrakis, who deals with most of the stair and door stuff. But they are based in Florida, really, really high end equipment. It's just something that we've tried to get out of the stair and door stuff before, kind of distance ourselves from it. But BAM makes such a good product that it's easy to sell it and keep customers happy with it. So
right. Well, and the thing is too, I've been in several panelization shops recently, and because of supply chain issues, they are starting to take on making their own doors and molding and everything in-house so they can control their own destiny. Are you seeing that more often?
Yeah. I think that people are starting to bring more and more stuff in-house, and even stuff you'd be doing in the field, bringing that under roof as well. And people have seen a lot of benefits of that.
Sure. All right. So we all know Hundiger, right? So Steve Schrader has been on the show. Steve has actually sponsored us on on occasion here and again. So we're really happy to show some of their stuff. So here's a new Hundiger Turbo Drive 2 saw, $338,000, right?
Yep, and that goes beyond just, cutting. That will do, you can option it for milling, drilling, wood I-beam or EWP processing.
Right.
Um, you can stack boards 4 high to cut them. It's really, it's a workhorse. It'll cut through, basically anything you can throw at it.
Right, right. And do all these systems work with proprietary software? Or are they all a little bit different depending on how you're set up in your shop?
A lot of it depends on how you're set up on in the shop, but they can tie into any of the main or any of the main design softwares that are out there.
Sure, sure. Let's look at Panels Plus, and then I want to go to the used side of this so we can get some shots of that. What are we looking here on the Panels Plus? What do they do?
Sure. So Panels Plus is exclusively wall panel manufacturing, and actually, I guess they do they have a floor cassette table as well. But they've got solutions from a traditional 3-table system, like a framing table, squaring table, sheathing station, with probably some subcomponent nailing tables, up to they've got an automated sheathing bridge now, and a combination table, which is great for space savings, where you kind of do all of that work on one table.
Yep.
A little slower, but if you're tight on space or labor, it makes a lot of sense.
It does make a lot of sense for sure. And is there anything else I want to show on here before we hop? I mean, I guess we should show everything if we could, but I know our time is down to the next 10 minutes. But why don't we show what is the Spida cutting wall panel machinery, and then we'll jump over to the used stuff. But
Sure,
this is amazing that you have all of this in just one page on your website.
Yeah, there's so much equipment out there, and it seems like there's more and more every year at BCMC. So Spida, we do sell some of their cutting equipment, primarily in wall panel applications.
Okay.
So they have some good wall panel marking and cutting saws, and we've really tried to emphasize how important cutting and marking is, because that's where your process starts. And if that's not accurate, it's going to throw off everything downline. So super important. So we start off with their cutting and marking saws, and you see
Right.
the automated Apollo saw there. That's a great all-purpose saw. But oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. So when you say like cutting and marking, explain that so our audience understands that's not in this business, so they understand how much these actually do.
Sure. So instead of just cutting a board and spitting it out, most modern saws have inkjet markers on them as well, and that can do anything from print, job number, or where in the building it's going, that kind of stuff. Just any sort of information you want to print on it. Batches, all the way down to on wall panels, stud locations and that kind of stuff. So that really helps ensure quality and just make sure everything's accurate.
Right, but it also keeps it in an order, so you know what comes first, right? It's
and
it's printing these out and cutting them.
Helps out a lot in the field too, just being able to
Yeah.
glance at something and know, okay, this goes over here, deliver it over there, or if something's off, you can see pretty quickly that what's wrong.
Right. So it's some technology too. I keep saying we're going to use, but I keep finding cool stuff, man. So we got the laser stuff as well. So this is really important because it's interesting when you're in these manufacturing facilities, and we're in a lot of them. Most of them have lasers above, so the workforce below that's laying out the truss system or the tables, they know exactly where to place the lumber and the plates. It takes all the guesswork out of it. Is that accurate?
Absolutely, yeah. So that's another thing that, like I said, you want to bring in labor day one, kind of take the skill out of it, and have people building trusses from the moment they start.
There's an example.
Exactly, and so the lasers will show you, cord placement, web placement, and even project plate placement with, it'll say the size of the plate on it, 2x3, whatever it might be. It really takes all the guesswork out of it, and just being able to glance and check and make sure everything's laid out properly before you roll it or press it. And that is a huge quality control, and it reduces the need for skilled labor.
Sure. All right, so let's move to the other side, because Joe, I don't have $300,000 for a new piece of equipment. I'm new, I'm starting out. We want to get up and running. We want to be as profitable as fast as we can, and you can start doing that just by using lasers on your layout, just so everybody knows, and using some better software. But I still want to add some more, obviously to my floor. So let's go to the used side of this and really get an understanding of what we're looking at here, because you have all of these same things. I don't see the lasers over there, but you have a lot of equipment here.
Yeah, we do. And actually, what you see on our used site now, there is not a lot of it compared to, let's say this time 2 years ago, where our site would have been out, 10 pages. You can scroll through used equipment. I think now it's at 3 or 4. And that's pretty much driven by just the way the market is right now, and everybody's building as much as they can, as fast as they can, and used equipment's getting sucked up probably even faster than new equipment. But like I said, if you can find a good piece of used equipment, there's no lead time. It's generally cheaper. It's a great option for somebody that's just getting into the business, or somebody who needs to quickly fill in. If you have something break, you can
Right.
supplement with used equipment as well.
Sure. Material handling. Tell me, what is it? Is this like where you're storing stuff and robots are picking it up, or what is it?
A little bit. It's pretty much before cutting to transporting material to kind of coming out the other end, stackers, stuff like that.
Got it.
That can be anything from, as you see here, kind of a classic peak up stacker, all the way to we've seen an Acer lumber retrieval system that goes and picks boards automatically and brings them to the saw.
Sure. I'm absolutely in love with all of this stuff, and I mean, we have so many people on the show that are starting factories or want to start, or how do they get involved? And this is such a huge resource, and I'm super excited that I was able to meet you and your father at BCMC. And I guess that's kind of why we go to these shows in some aspects, right? Is for the connections and to learn about new things such as what you guys are doing here.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Is there anything, Joe? We got about 5 minutes left that I have not covered that you would like to make sure the world knows what you do, and then we'll say hi to a few people.
Sure. Yeah, I would just like to emphasize that we sell all over the world. We're not really restricted to any region. We've sold into every continent except for Antarctica, which we're working on. If we can find somebody down there, we'll sell them.
Yeah,
But so we really do travel all over the world finding the best solutions, and we're happy to travel and visit anybody that's interested in starting a truss plant or improving their process, whatever the case may be.
sure. Let me ask you this: what about warranties on this stuff? When I buy used equipment or I buy something from you, that would always be a concern, just like buying a used car.
Yeah, so we don't have warranties on used equipment. New equipment would be covered by the manufacturer's warranty. As far as used goes, we don't have many issues at all with quality on used equipment. We rely on the seller taking good photos, or we'll travel and take good photos of it. We try to get videos of it working when we can. And if something is wrong on delivery, we generally work well with the seller, and we'll put in some solutions as well to get it fixed. And
Right.
I'll say in 34 years in the industry, we've never been sued once. We've never had any issues with a product going wrong that we can't fix. So
Sure. Well, that's a huge testament to yourself and Jay, your dad, because I mean, you guys have just been awesome to talk with and spend time with, during the show, even after the show, learning about all the different things that you do. And I think this is an area of the industry that doesn't get a whole lot of face time, that should have more face time. With the growth that's happening, people need to know that you exist, because I have a feeling there's some people that have not started their manufacturing facilities because they can't afford new equipment, and they don't know where to go and what the resources is to get the used equipment. And the way the housing crisis is across the United States and world, quite honestly, right now, we need more factories. In fact, we need probably about 20,000 more to really catch up with the demand of the housing issues that are out there. And I think this is one way that chips away at how we open up another factory,
yeah,
especially
and
for
I
those
think
that are in a lower budget.
I think that's the key, is that you can start anywhere from, $100,000 starting the truss plant all the way into the, multi-millions. It's just, there's a scale and a place for everybody. And we try to help accommodate, whatever your budget is, or whatever your needs
Right.
are.
Yeah, and I want to point something out. I saw it, and I've been meaning to say it before we end. You guys also have some equipment that'll do steel, right? Automation.
Yeah.
We don't want to leave that out here.
No, so we do sell some steel wall panel equipment. We don't get into it too much, but yeah, we do sell through Panels Plus some steel wall panel equipment.
So you do. Good. All right. So, I mean, that's super important to know. So if you're out there, Mod Logic and others that are in the steel fabrication and looking to add automation to what you're doing, here's another option for people that you should know out there. All right, listen, we are down to the wire. It is 12:29, Joe. I want to thank you for taking the time. This has been absolutely awesome. I appreciate you stopping what you guys have going on. And I know that's being busy and making money and helping people be productive and make money, because that's what you're in the business of, is helping people be successful. And I think that's amazing.
Yep. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right. Well, listen, everybody, I appreciate it. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me. Joe, what's the best way to get a hold of you guys? woodtechsystems.com?
Yeah, woodtechsystems.com. There's a contact us page on there. All of our emails, phone numbers, everything's right there.
There you have it. There you go. I mean, product spotlight, I think it's right up there with the top 10. Now you have your resource on where you need to go to buy your equipment for your manufacturing facility. My name's Dave Cooper. Joe Altman, thank you so much from Wood Tech Systems. And a big shout out to your dad who was unable to attend today. Jay, thank you as well. Don't go anywhere, Joe. I'm going to come right back to you. And please hit that like and share button one more time. My name's Dave Cooper. Thanks for watching. Bye, everybody.